So hi, I'm excited to be here in Birmingham Centenary Square, right in front of this wonderful Commonwealth clock, which will soon display 1 year to go. Such an exciting time for the region, and I'm so pleased and honoured to be with my guest today. Sir Nathan Douglas. How are you, Nathan?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, better on a day like today. That's for sure.
Fantastic. It is a great day, isn't it? Well, look, there's such a great opportunity happening with the city and the Commonwealth Games, and not just for the city, but for the region and the country. And I'm really keen to get your view as an athlete taking part on the Games from your perspective. And so for me, what I'd really like to ask is just how do you feel about the Games?
I'm incredibly excited by the Games. You know, I've been training in Birmingham since about 2002. So I've seen a massive change at Alexander Stadium where I train anyway, when they put the new back straight stand in, etc. But now with the change that we're having, it's just incredible. You know, I go past it every single day,
Yeah,
so
I can imagine.
it's really tough not to really be that inspired, you know, and it really is incredible. I've had a look around the stadium and I'm just looking at it and thinking, this is going to be amazing for the future. It really is. You know, I'm coming to the tail end of my career now, but I'm looking at some of the youngsters that will be coming up and thinking they're going to have fantastic facilities for years to come.
I mean, you're talking there about the youth, and I think the legacy of the Games is going to be something that's going to be phenomenal. And I think our young people today are often not always appreciative of the great opportunities that are on their doorstep, but I think this is definitely going to be, if not the biggest opportunity for many young people in our city.
Yeah.
But what do you believe will be the legacy of the Games from your perspective?
That's a great question. As you were saying, I was just thinking, actually, I think there's a possibility that we could have a greater legacy from the Commonwealth Games than we did from the 2012 Olympic Games.
Oh, wow.
In all honesty, I know that's quite a big statement, but you know, so if I look from an athletics perspective, it's quite difficult for us to actually use the Olympic Stadium. So, you know, we're supposed to have a Diamond League event this year at the Olympic Stadium, and we wasn't able to because there's some difficulties with that. I genuinely believe Birmingham will probably become the centrepiece of athletics. I really do, because the facilities, like I said, will be out of this world. They really will. So I can imagine, you know, a lot of sport coming to the city, which is only going to bring opportunities for everybody. I also think that from a diverse perspective, it's going to be really interesting, because now there's going to be so much different sport coming to the country that people are just going to be able to see everything. You know, from every walk of life, people are going to be inspired to maybe take up a new sport, to look after their health and well-being, to maybe get involved with some of the athletes' stories and actually realise, you know, some of the tough things that some of the athletes have been through. So I think it's going to be really inspiring for the whole city and the country for sure.
And you're absolutely right, and I totally agree with that. I think the diversity of the city in itself is a great platform and a foundation to make this the centrepiece, and to make this something that all countries across the world will really want to get involved in, but also be able to build upon for the future. But in terms of your own career, you know, I want to dive a little bit into that, because, you know, you've been to Delhi, Glasgow, Gold Coast. What does it feel like to be able to perform here in Birmingham?
I know it sounds a bit cliche, but it really is kind of once in a lifetime opportunity, in all honesty. I unfortunately missed the 2012 Olympic Games in London through injury, which for me, you know, obviously I looked at as such a fantastic opportunity to be in front of a home crowd, be in front of your family, to potentially win a gold medal. To actually have the Commonwealth Games in a city that I've been training professionally as an athlete for the majority of my career.
Fantastic.
It's a fantastic opportunity, you know, and hopefully for me I can be there, I can qualify, I can compete, and potentially, you know, fight for that gold medal in front of a home crowd, in front of friends and family, which is the opportunity I missed in 2012.
And this is why this is such an important thing, because, you know, you're a Team England triple jumper, 5 times British champion, and you now got the opportunity to be able to showcase your skills, your talent in probably one of the most diverse cities. I think that in itself is a fantastic thing that we should absolutely get behind. But you train in Birmingham, as I'm sure you, and have you noticed an increase in the enthusiasm for the sport across the city as you've been training in Birmingham, going around and just, I guess, meeting new people, different communities, etc.?
Yeah, people are excited. Even my neighbours are excited, to be honest. I was speaking to them just the other day about it, and they're saying to me they can't wait for it to obviously come to the city, because they haven't had something of this magnitude. And, you know, obviously I know people are aware it's a game, so you really do have all of these sports coming together. And so going into it as an athlete, it's fantastic to mix with the other sports. It really is. The camaraderie you have, it's just fantastic, really mixed with so many diverse sports, in all honesty. And so I really do think it's going to be an incredible time. I can see that people are starting to get excited now as it becomes closer. And it's just going to be an incredible event. And I think actually, for 1 second, if I just think about the pandemic, you know, athletics has been hit quite hard by the pandemic, like a lot of people have, a lot of businesses obviously have. But I think the Commonwealth Games could almost be a celebration of sport for this country, because I think by then, hopefully, fingers crossed, things may have died down. We might have a bigger handle of things. So it might be one of the biggest sporting events on the planet where actually people are able to get together, spectators will be able to join. So it really could be a celebration of the world having some element of normality again, and sport being able to kick back off.
I mean, and you just mentioned there about the business opportunities that are here. I mean, what are your views on that? Because, you know, in many quarters, people are saying that SMEs may not be able to get all the opportunities that they could get from the games. Many larger firms are maybe not unsure about how they can get involved in the games. But what's your view on that kind of business opportunity?
I think there's a great opportunity. I think you have to be a bit creative with it.
Yeah.
I think some of the small companies may feel that they can't get in, but actually you could get directly involved with an athlete yourself.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of athletes out there that do need funding to be able to help them to continue with their sport. And I think actually a small or medium-sized business linking with an athlete or linking with the sport has a massive opportunity. If you think of the fact of, you know, you'd be lining yourself with people that aim to be successful, that have been through setbacks and know how to push through that, have been truly resilient. They obviously have to look after their health and well-being, and obviously their mental health too. So I think aligning yourself with that positivity is just a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Chambers Awards has absolutely been a celebration of those types of opportunities for businesses, and recognising those who've continued to push through and thrive through. And I think there is definitely a call to action from the city about making sure business is part of the legacy of the city. And I think we're still trying to get there. I think globally there's a need for a much more of a closer narrative around what it means to do business here, and have the same message being spoken by all relevant organisations in the region. But I think you're absolutely right. The skills of and experiences of an athlete absolutely mirror that business journey. You know, you mentioned resilience.
Yeah.
You mentioned setbacks. I mean, that's a part and parcel of the journey. But I think what's also important is that the young people themselves, maybe, you know, the young entrepreneurs who might not see this correlation between sport and business, they see this as an opportunity. I mean, what are your thoughts around that? I guess that sporting opportunity for young businesses.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea as well. You know, it's something again that, you know, being linked with sport really could help them to push their business to the next level. And I think, you know, some people will look at there are some kind of levels of correlation between sport and business, and being lucky enough to work in both worlds, I can see that there is a huge correlation. In fact, it's all to do with performance.
Yeah.
And so for me as a performance coach as well, you know, I link the both of those. And so if you can realise what it takes to have the mindset of an elite athlete, it's the same kind of mindset that someone needs as an entrepreneur to push their business.
That's right.
You know, I have to make sure I get the right team around me as an athlete, the right physiotherapist, nutritionist, soft tissue therapist, coach, etc. So I often say to younger athletes, actually, look at yourself as a CEO, because that's what you are of your sport, and you need to pull in the correct people that you need. So, you know, there are huge correlations between what an athlete needs, what the sport needs, and actually what a business has to do as well.
No, I absolutely see that 100%. Well, I want to kind of switch almost back to the beginning, because we've talked a lot about the opportunity, we've talked a lot about collaboration and the way that people can get involved. But what actually inspired you to get involved in athletics in the very first place? Like, what made you think, yeah, this is for me?
So interesting, really. I was 7 years old, and I was just racing in my school playground, and I raced the fastest kid in the school. Managed to beat him. He became a really good friend of mine, and he invited me to my local athletics club.
Fantastic.
So I went there at 7 and absolutely loved the sport, and just took part in every single event. And, you know, just, this is going slightly off on a tangent, but, you know, for any parents kind of watching it, often will say to me, you know, what should we do with our young child, you know, when it comes to sport? How should we make them focus? My answer was just let them have fun. I trained twice a week only until I was 18 years old, and I think there's you know, there's this kind of thing within sport now that you have to push hard really early. And I would say, if somebody's a talented sports person, it will shine through. Just let them have fun, because that's the biggest opportunity you can have. And in all honesty, I think if you look at that from a grander scale, and let's talk about life, let's talk about business, and I often say this to business people, for me, enjoyment is a key performance indicator. You know, enjoy what you're doing, have fun. It needs to be, you know, you need to be happy with that. And I think if you're enjoying the journey, you flourish. And if you look at some of the biggest sports people on the planet, we often kind of gravitate to those that have a smile on their face, that enjoying what they do, and they just love their sport, and they perform. And if you look at someone, say like Usain Bolt, for example, he's probably the epitome of that.
Yeah, well, so most definitely. If you don't have a passion, if you don't have the fun for what you are doing and why you're doing it, and you have to wake up every day wanting to literally run through the door and attack the day doing what you love. So You're absolutely right. Well, look, coming to the end of kind of this kind of short interview, but what I'd really like to ask you is, what's your final message, I guess, for the city, the region, the world in relation to the Commonwealth Games?
I think, enjoy the opportunity we have. The togetherness is going to be incredible. Diversity is a massive thing, obviously, around the world right now, and rightly so. Birmingham is probably one of the most diverse cities within the world, and I think we have an opportunity to show off and actually lead from that perspective and show other people around the world how you can actually do this. So I think enjoy the occasion, do your best to get involved, and to enjoy the togetherness.
Well, fantastic. Well, Nathan, thank you very much for your time today. Wish you the very best of luck throughout the whole of the competition. I'm sure you're going to do yourself and all of us proud, so thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.